Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the Hall of March 2023. I'd like to begin with this book, Cinema Speculation by Quentin Tarantino. I picked up the previous edition a few months ago, which I have here. And it has a behind-the-scene photo there of Steve McQueen and Sam Peckinpah on the set of The Getaway on the front page, or the front cover, I should say. But I enjoyed reading it. I don't always agree with the man, but it's a fun and insightful book. I love reading these kinds of books, and this is the special edition. It's basically the same book, but this one has a bonus essay, which is at the end, behind the index pages. Here it is, and it's about American graffiti. But this is what Tarantino wants to do. He wants to write books, and if they're going to be as entertaining as this one, then I'm all for it. I believe he also wants to write a book about Sergio Corbucci, but rumor has it that his 10th and final film will be called The Movie Critic, and it's going to be based on Pauline Kael, one of the most influential film critics of all time. If that really is going to be his final film, then it's a surprising choice. On the other hand, if you've read this book, it's not really that surprising. He loved film criticism, so it kind of makes sense that he wants to make a movie about it. I'm just wondering if it will have violence in it. Physical violence, that is. I'm sure it will have plenty of verbal violence, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and it made me pick up some of the films that he talked about. Now, mind you, this book contains spoilers, so it's wise to watch the films first. But one of the films that he talked about is Joe. I've heard about this film before, and I've always wanted to see it, and this book gave me a good reason to finally pick it up. And it's an exceptional film, with a brilliant performance by Peter Boyle, as the titular character, Joe. It has an incredible ending, and also with Susan Sarandon in her film debut. People call it the precursor to Taxi Driver, and I get that. I mean, it's about a man who have had enough and take matters into his own hands, and it came out in 1970, but it's still very relevant today. Directed by John G. Avildsen, who later made Rocky 1 and 5 and the Karate Kid trilogy. And what a movie. Very dark, but very good. Here is the Walking Tall trilogy with the great Joe Don Baker as the legendary Tennessee Sheriff Buford Pusser. I have seen the Dwayne Johnson remake years ago, and I did not like it. But the original Walking Tall is a damn good movie. Baker is terrific, and obviously they wanted him back for the sequel. But he, along with director Phil Coulson, who's best known for his film noir work, such as Kansas City Confidential and 5 Against the House, they decided to do a different film together, which I will show you in a minute. So when Joe Don Baker was out, the idea was that Buford Pusser was going to play himself in the sequel. But before production of the second film started, Pusser was killed in a car accident. There were some speculations that his car might have been sabotaged, but it was never proven. But Bo Swenson ended up playing Pusser in the sequels. And he was Buford Pusser's first choice, for the first film, because Swenson looks more like Pusser than Joe Don Baker. But but part 2 was all right. Haven't seen part 3 yet, but I really liked the first one. The first one was really good. And this is the movie that Baker and Phil Coulson made instead of Walking Tall Part 2. Framed, a solid, gritty crime drama about a man who is, well, framed by the system, and when he gets out of prison, he seeks revenge and goes after the ones who set him up. This is Phil Coulson's last movie, and Tarantino said that this is one of the best last films ever made by any director. In recent years, and also in the book, he has been criticizing certain directors for making disappointing last movies, and he named Don Siegel as an example. Tarantino stated that if Escape from Alcatraz was Siegel's last movie, it would have been a great way to end an impressive career. Instead, Siegel made 2 more films, Rough Cut with Burt Reynolds and Jinxed with Bette Midler. I haven't seen those films, but I have heard not so good things about them, so I think Tarantino has a point there. However, I also think that it's a bit unfair towards Don Siegel. Perhaps he needed the money, or he was contractually obligated to do those 2 films, who knows. But anyway, Framed is an excellent piece of 70s rawness with a terrific performance by Joe Don Baker. And speaking of Joe Don Baker, he also appears in The Outfit along with Robert Duvall, Karen Black, Robert Ryan, and many other great actors. Not to be confused with the excellent 2022 thriller with Mark Rylance. But Duvall plays a professional criminal who... by the way, he basically plays the same character as Lee Marvin in Point Blank, and Mel Gibson in Payback, and Jason Statham in Parker. And in this film, he takes on the Mafia, or The Outfit, after they killed his brother. It's not as good as Rolling Thunder, the movie John Flynn directed after this one, but it's still pretty solid. I've seen it 2-3 times before, and it gets better with each viewing. And the last movie I picked up that Tarantino talked about in Cinema Speculation is Track Down with Jim Mitchum as a cowboy from Montana who travels to Los Angeles to find his runaway sister, who ends up in the nasty world of sex trafficking. Now, Jim Mitchum clearly has his father's looks, but not his father's acting talent. But I thought he was alright, The movie was alright as well. It's a decent revenge-matic, a term that Tarantino used quite often in his book. And the highlights of the movie are the elevator shootout and the ending. I've purchased these 4 Walter Hill films, and I am one title away from completing Walter Hill's filmography, which is a TV movie from 2010 called Messo's War. I've only heard bad things about that one, and apparently Walter Hill thought it was bad too because he removed his name from it. But anyway, let me show you what these films are. Crossroads. This is a fantastic jam. Roger Ebert described it perfectly as a cheerful cross between a slice of life and a supernatural fable. The guitar battle at the end is fantastic. Yeah, wonderful film. Crossroads. Wild Bill, with Jeff Bridges as Wild Bill Hickok and Ellen Barkin as Calamity Jane. An above average western that takes place in the notorious Deadwood. Speaking of which, Walter Hill directed the very first episode of Deadwood, the TV series. Next is Supernova, that comes in this very nice steelbook from Germany. And this is another film that Walter Hill removed his name from. Originally, it was going to be a low-budget sci-fi thriller that was pitched as Dead Calm in Space, but the studio MGM wanted to make a bigger effects movie out of it, and that's where the problems started. Perhaps they should have stick with the original idea, but I believe Walter Hill was the second director that was hired, and of all the directors that were attached to it, he did most of the work, but he eventually left due to creative differences. His vision was a lot different than what the studio had in mind. So they brought in Jack Sholder, the director of The Hidden and A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. He worked on it for a while, and at one point, behind Jack Sholder's back, they hired none other than Francis Ford Coppola to fix the problems. So the making of this movie was quite a mess, and you can tell because the movie is quite a mess. But Walter Hill's original cut is still out there somewhere, but I don't think we're ever going to see it. I think the chance that we're ever going to see Orson Welles' original cut of The Magnificent Ambersons is much bigger than Hill's original cut of Supernova. I also picked up Hill's latest, Dead for a Dollar. I was underwhelmed by the trailer, and after I saw his previous movie, The Assignment, I expected the worst. But it wasn't bad. I didn't like the way it looked, though. It almost looked like a soap opera or something like that. But despite of it, I thought it was okay. Nothing more, nothing less. At least it's better than The Assignment, that's for sure. This is a spaghetti western called His Name Was Holy Ghost, or as the Italian title says, Uomo avvisato, mezzo amasato, parola di Spirito Santo. That's quite a mouthful. With Sartana himself, Johnny Garco, as Spirito Santo. I'm surprised he didn't make more films of this character. It's not the first Spirito Santo film. Prior to this one, there is an unrelated trilogy with a different actor. But I thought it was enjoyable. Very silly though. But it came out around the time when the Terence Hill and Bud Spencer Western comedies were popular. So this movie tried to cash in on that success. There's even an actor in it that reminds me a lot of Bud Spencer. This guy. But this is a nice addition from Play On Pictures, I believe you call it. Formerly known as Koch Media, and this is number 5 in their Western All Arabiata series. I don't have the other ones because I already have those films in different Blu-ray releases. The Hellbenders, for example, and Kill Them All and Come Back Alone. However, there is one I do like to get, which is California with Giuliano Gemma. I have that one on DVD, and I would love to upgrade it to Blu-ray. But anyway, let's take a look at this little unusual, packaging. So you got the a small poster, which looks really nice. And the German title, Ein Halleluja vor Spirito Santo. And of course you got the booklet here, which is written in German. It is a German edition after all. And here you can see some different posters. This is the Belgian poster, and you got the German poster. Here's another German poster, and this is the Italian poster. And of course you got the Blu-ray and DVD on this little digipack with a nice picture on the other side. Yeah, very nice release. Very nice release. From Play On Pictures. Spirito Santo. Next is Gorgeous with Jackie Chan. I actually never seen this one before. And I still haven't seen it. You know, I received it the other day. So I still need to check it out. But also with the beautiful Shu Qi. She was also in the first Transporter movie with Jason Statham. But yeah, this was this release was delayed a couple of times for whatever reason, but they finally put it out. 88 films. Of course, you got the booklet, a poster, a booklet there. It looks very nice. Yeah, cannot wait to check this out. This looks like a lot of fun. Gorgeous with Jackie Chan. And here is Dragon Slayer on 4K. And I have to say, it looks really good on 4K. It looks really good. I love the grain in the film. You know, it looks like a film. You know, the way it ought to be. The grain was good. It was sharp. It was just a very good 4K transfer, and I'm glad about that, because lately I've been hearing some, you know, bad things about the Blu-ray and 4K releases that Paramount has put out. For example, Young Sherlock Holmes appears to have a very disappointing transfer, but luckily that's not the case with Dragon Slayer. And they even released this very nice edition with the original artwork here on the front, and also at the back. There's a great artwork. And of course on the steelbook itself, I mean, look at that. I haven't seen the film for many years, and I was afraid that I might not like it anymore, but it's still a great movie. It's still a great movie, and the dragon itself looks great as well. It was created by ILM. You know, there's a making of on this Blu-ray with interviews by Phil Tippett and Dennis Muren. You know, the visual effects masters from ILM, and they did an incredible job by bringing this dragon to life with stop motion and go motion and you know, different other effects, and it still looks great. It still looks great. But yeah, I'm very happy with this one. Very happy. You know, this was a childhood favorite of mine, growing up in the 80s. Dragon Slayer. And here's the J card, by the way, for those who are interested. There's even a commentary by director Matthew Robbins and Guillermo del Toro, excuse me. Yeah, next time I'm going to watch the film, I'm going to watch it with the commentary there. And last but not least, I got In Search of Darkness Part 3, the final journey into 80s horror. Like the previous parts, I am a backer of this documentary, and they did a great job with this release. It's a very nice slipcase, as you can see, and here is the Blu-ray with a different artwork. You got the disc itself, and it also has a little booklet there. Yeah, that looks very nice. I mean, look at that. The entrance of a video store. That definitely bring back memories. And here are some of the talking heads that participated on the documentary, including Gene Simmons himself. And here are the list of films that are talked about in this documentary, Part 3. Yeah, this looks really, really nice. And it also comes with a few extra stuff, like this pin. This looks really nice. This is a In Search of Darkness lifetime member card, which is reminiscent, of course, to those video store member cards, Yeah, it's a nice little touch there. And it also has this card, promotional card of In Search of Darkness 1990 and 1994. So they're going to continue the series, but this time they're going to talk about the films that came out in the early years of the 1990s. And on the other side, you have promotional of In Search of Tomorrow Part 2. The journey into 80s sci-fi continues, summer 2023. So yeah, that is very nice. And you also get 3 posters. This is the first one. This is the second one. And this is my favorite poster of the 3, the entrance of the video store. I mean, this is pure nostalgia. So yeah, I cannot wait to sit down and watch the entire, 5.5 hours of this documentary, In Search of Darkness Part 3. Yeah, they did a great job on the not only documentary but also this edition with all those nice extras. But anyway, that was it for my March update. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.